Alrighty, good day and welcome. My name is Mr. JB, and today we're going to be going through some more stuff on Electude. It's been a little while. I'm just going to show, this is for teachers to kind of help them build their courses, for those of you who are new to Electude, trying to understand how you're going to make your stuff and how to really navigate the program. That's really what this is for. I know I struggled a little bit when I first hopped into it, and after brainstorming with some other colleagues and some other teachers, we were able to figure it out, and I figured this would be a nice helpful way for those of you who are just entering into the Electude life, or maybe it's been a long time since you've been in it, and you just kind of want a refresher on how to make your classes. Now I have some other videos on adding students and stuff like that, so if you're interested in those will be in the description below, but without further ado, we're going to get rolling and we're going to start talking about how to build your courses. So when you log in, you'll get a window that looks like this after you've created your account, you're signed in, after you've done your admin account and then created yourself as a teacher. You're going to hop in here and you're going to go to courses. Now, as you can see in mine, I've got a list of courses, so you probably will have nothing here. And that's cool, that's the way it's supposed to look. So to do that, we're just gonna start right off the bat. We're gonna add a course. You're gonna call it whatever you want. I used to try and make mine usually around the course codes. So when I was making mine for TTJ 201, that's grade 10 transportation technologies here in Ontario, I just have that code so that way I can kind of make it defaulted. But for this, we're just gonna call it demo class. So demo class, I think I've got one, so I'm just gonna call it demo class 2. So demo class 2, we'll go down here. It's at the very bottom. I'm going to click on that and open it, and you'll see that there's nothing in here. Now, there's two ways we can go about adding courses. One is to create actual specific courses. So let's say you wanted to have an engines unit and you wanted to assign work day by day. So you'd have an engines unit day 1 lesson and a day 2 lesson and a day 3 lesson. You could do it that way, or you could just do it all by modules. And then you just drop it all and you just give all the students everything all at once, and they can do that amongst themselves when they have time. It's a little harder for the students to navigate when they have a crazy amount of modules. So I prefer to do courses, so I'm just going to show you how to build that, but we'll start off just showing you what would happen if we just were to drop in modules. Now, when we're doing that, might not seem self-explanatory, but you hop over to modules and we're just gonna look something up. So we'll just look up some, tools, for example. I can Google it or put it in the search bar, or you can go into the default through subjects and you can kind of go through some other stuff through here and you'll be able to navigate to find what it is that you're hopefully trying to find throughout here. So I'm just hop into tools and let's just say I'm gonna throw floor jack in here. So I'm gonna throw floor jack in there. Now everything usually has a quiz paired with it. You can see we've got a floor jack and a floor jack quiz. Sometimes there's a basic and advanced, so just make sure that you're throwing the right thing in there so you don't throw an advanced quiz with a basics lesson. They won't gather enough information and they're probably going to struggle for whoever you're handing this to. So in my demo class, I'm now hopping over and you'll see that I've dropped my floor jack into this. Now, I find this really helpful to be able to see these and see time, but it's not going to help you unless you've got your courses. I try and make all of mine around an hour or so because that's roughly a period of work for us here in Ontario. Now, again, I don't like to throw them just into these modules, so I'm just going to delete it and show you the way that I build my courses. So just delete, it's going to ask me to confirm. Sweet. So courses, and I'm going to call this one Tools Day 1. Gonna add that, and I'm gonna make another one, Tools Day 2, and just show you kind of how I build mine. Now you can see the date there, whichever, there's no modules in them. Now for me to drop stuff in, you click on that. So now at the top of your screen, you should see Tools Day whatever. If you're building it along with me or whatever it is that you're building, you're gonna hop back over to whatever course it is, into your section. I'm gonna drag floor jack into there. I'm gonna drag my floor jack quiz, and I'm going to look for something else, probably jack stands and jack stand quiz, since that's roughly around the same idea. And I can look at the time, and if you want to add it up on your head, cool. Or you can just go back to my demo class 2, and I can see that there is 4 modules in there, and it's going to take my students an hour and 20 minutes to complete that. Now, I do this for all of my subjects. Most of them all get tool stuff. Even regardless of their grade, just as refreshers, they can usually do it a lot quicker. Again, just hopping over into modules, I'm gonna look through here. I'm probably gonna try and find like tire machine, tire balancer, stuff like that, because those are the things that I try and start my students off with. Oh, torque wrench is a lovely one, so we'll throw a torque wrench in there. We do something different for vehicle lifts. As you can see, there's a lot of different options within here for you to throw stuff in, through maintenance, through powertrains, chassis, depending on how you want to actually build your course. Now, when you're building your stuff, you'll see that I've got this stuff here, which is excellent. I'm gonna go back to demo class 2. Cool. So once you have your course built, you've got it designed, now you're gonna assign it to a class. So I'll hop in here and I'm gonna make a new group. I'm gonna call it Demo Stuff 2, and we're gonna add it. Now, Demo Stuff 2 currently has nothing going on, so I'm gonna click on Demo Stuff 2. So now that I've got my demo stuff here, I've just clicked into it. Now we're gonna end up adding our course. So we go into my courses, I'm gonna go back to self-made, and same idea as everything else, it's really just a click and drag. So I'm gonna drag my demo class 2 all the way up here, and you'll see that it's got a red circle, like a do not enter sign. And as soon as you hover it over, that goes away. That means I can drop that in. Now my class has demo class 2 available for them. When you're going through and you're assigning stuff to students, you can lock out everything so students don't have access to anything by just clicking this lock, and you can lock it, unlock it. I don't do it that way because I like to assign certain things certain days, and you're either locking everything or unlocking everything. So in order to do this, it's a little tedious, it does take some time, but you're gonna go into each module and you're just gonna lock it out. And that's really all it is. And then when you're ready to assign it, you can do that, or you can unlock it for a certain period of time. So that way next Friday at 2 p.m. it locks out, you no longer have access to this, the students are done with that. Now, once you've built all of this, you're gonna be able to add students to it. So we're gonna go back into our demo stuff and we're gonna add some students. Now you can add groups of students if you built groups of students. You can call it a group of students, but I'm just gonna show you how I normally add my students. There is a video that I have for students on how they access it, so I'm just going to kind of do it that way. So I just do first name, last initial. So we're just going to call this person student 1, and 1 is their last name. And then I just do whatever year that it is that we're ending in. So our school year right now is ending in 2023. So student 1, 2023. That's usually what I try to do for all of my students. Put in their first name, again, student. Last name is 1, and then you have to enter an email address. Now, for me here in my school board, I can't input a student's personal email address for confidentiality reasons, so we have to enter just a bogus email address that's not going to send anything anywhere. That causes you an extra step in the future, but saves you looking up everybody's email address as well. So normally this email address would receive the email with the information showing them their password and their username, giving them access to log in. So instead you just have to give them a default password later, which I'll show you how to do. So when you're doing this, no reply at electude.ca will count as a default password for them. Now I've got my student, I've got them created. I'm gonna click add, excellent. Now I've got my student 1. They've spent no time in here, which is fine because they were just created, they don't truly exist. And I'm gonna click on them because we still have to set their password. They don't technically have a password because they can't get their email. And we just go in here and I just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think I messed up my typing already. 9, and then just click OK. Now that student should have their password reset. And if a student ever forgets their password, they misplace it, whatever, you can just hop in here and you can reset it back to the default, and they can just enter that and it'll ask them to change their password. If we had their emails, you could resend their login details and it would send them an email, but obviously we haven't done that, so there isn't a way to do that. When you're building your course, something to keep in mind, depending on how many teachers use this or how many classes you have using this, if you just have the basic license, which many of us here in my school board do, you can only have 100 students active at a time. So for me right now, I've got my number of students here. If I had more than that active, so actually using it, logged into a course, then they might not actually be able to access stuff. It'll block them from certain courses, it'll stop them from allowing access, it'll boot them once in a while, it won't save their progress the same way, because you're only actually allowed to have 100. So it's important for whatever it is that you're doing when you're using this, to make sure that you have the proper amount of kids, or if you need the other license, you go buy the other license. That was something I was never informed of until I started using the program with our grade 9 Exploring Tech room. And all of a sudden, students were being kicked out and booted and not accepted into certain areas of the program because we had too many students, and that wasn't something we were made aware of. Now, when you're wanting to view progress of students, this to me is what I really like about this, is being able to see the progress of everybody who's doing stuff. Whatever it is that they're doing in the course, whatever it is that they're building, you're actually able to see that. This is great for contacting families. You can take a screenshot and go, hey, so-and-so hasn't been on their Electude program in 32 days. Or they only put 5 minutes into this. I know this was the last time you logged into it. You can kind of see students actually working on their stuff because you can see their progress bars, you can see their questions popping in when you're refreshing your page. It's pretty nice to be able to see that live information, which I've used for numerous conversations with families. So I'm just going to hop into one of my courses here, and I'll just show you some examples of student progress. So I've just hopped into my demo class here where you can kind of see, I just kind of threw all of my courses in here, so that way they were just here. But if you have modal logic, this is kind of like the workshop manual. You want to assign it as a course for students. That way students can access modal logic. That's really how it works. So if you want your students to have it, or you do have access to modal logic, it is an expansion upon buying the actual Electude software. But to me, I find it very helpful because every student can now have access to a workshop manual rather than all data or something like that. But you only have a single computer that can access it. Now, every kid with a cell phone in the shop can access this. Every kid with a Chromebook or a laptop or a device can access modal logic so long as they log into their program. Now, if you want to access that, I'll show you that really quick. You're going to go into courses and you're going to go to modal logic, and you're just going to drag that modal logic into whatever class it is. That way they can have access, and I'll make a tutorial on accessing that and using the program at a later date. Now, when a student's working on stuff, I'm just going to hop into student 19 here, and I'm going to look at their stuff. And as we can see on here, we're looking at their student. We can see their knowledge or understanding based on the grades they've done. They've done changing oil, and they've done the changing oil quiz. Now I can see their mark here. If I hover over it, you can't see the hover pop-up window because my recording doesn't allow that, but they got 71% on their changing oil, just their training lesson, and 83% on their for realsies quiz. Now if I hop into their changing oil quiz, I can see what their score was, how long they spent on it, when they first logged in. So if they logged in on the 7th and didn't finish it until the 22nd, then you could see that information. You know how long students are spending on it. These hours aren't perfect for idle hours and stuff like that. It will just monitor the moment they've logged into it. And if they left their computer open all night on this page, you'll see those hours. So you know if students they've only done one question and they've spent 48 minutes on this, it's pretty obvious that they're not actually working on it. You can go through, you can see all their questions, you can see their correct answers, right answers, wrong answers. So maybe that's something you can use as a discussion point within your classes, if that's what you prefer and that's what you want to do. Just a lovely way to access that, a lovely way to gain access to whatever marks it is that you're assessing through Electude. Again, just a quick little hover over within whatever modules. If I wanted to go into this, I'll go to this module. All right, if I wanted to hop into this module, then I can see that that was the one that was active, changing oil. It's now locked out because we stopped having access to it. But again, you just click on that, and another way you can see each kid that's accessed it. And just another viewpoint on this program. Now, I know that's a lot. This can be a little confusing your first time kind of navigating this program. There is a support feature. It's okay. I have struggled with some support questions that I've had over time, but it's been pretty good. I personally enjoy the program. Depending on how you run your course, this might be great for you or not great for you, but I do find there is some benefit in this for theoretical stuff. A nice way to give little bits of homework or some other ways to give students theoretical knowledge and learning throughout this program. There are some interactive modules which I don't seem to have access to, so I can't demonstrate those for you. But they do look pretty neat if you do want to pay for those advanced licenses to have those. But to me, that's more of a college university level stuff, where I just teach secondary, grades 9 to 12. in terms of transportation. So for us, that advanced level stuff just isn't where my students normally are or would truly gain the most benefit. So that's it. That's all we're going to go over for today. I know that was a handful of stuff. If you have any questions on Electude, or you want to see a demo on doing something else, going through one of the modules, a demo on actually using the program, on how I assess stuff, on how I gather grades, whatever it is, if you want to drop a comment down below, that'd be awesome. I'm happy to go through any tutorials that some folks need. I've navigated this program for a few years now, so I've gotten pretty comfortable with it. If you have any questions though, you can just throw them below as well. I'd be happy to answer any of those if you do have them. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day. Take care and be safe.